that she was not going to be able to make it, so I'm not sure.
Side which is late.
At least we made quorum, so.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, then with that, I will call the Lewiston Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the regular meeting scheduled for today at 5:30 to order. So first item agenda is the call to order, which has been done. And then item number 2 on the agenda is the election of chair and vice chair for 2026, and this is an action item. So we'll take these in order. You can nominate yourself if you like, and if memory serves me right, we don't need seconds for nominations, correct? Correct. Okay. Perfect. Well, with that, I will take a nomination for chair for anybody here.
I will nominate you. You're welcome.
Everybody can stop laughing now. Are there any other nominations? Wow, I got shafted. All right, well then, I think we need to do a roll call vote for this, correct? So, all right, if there are no other nominations, then, do you call it out, or go ahead, Dawn, sorry.
Dawn does.
Yep. Anderson?
I vote aye.
I vote aye.
Shay?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Oh, we can't hear her. I'll turn it up.
She said
I mean,
aye.
I did slightly hear her say aye.
Yes.
I'm glad I was able to join so we could make quorum.
There you go, now we, yeah,
Yes,
there we go, now we can hear you a little better.
I said aye.
All right, well, you know, normally I would hand this off to the next person in line, but, okay, not today. All right, well, with that, then I will take a nomination for vice chair. So are there any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Emily. I came prepared tonight.
Wow, this is a stunning re-election slate.
You only thought you were done, Gabe.
Kind of did, yeah. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment. I obviously opted to be here for another term, so are there any other nominations? Does not sound like it, so we will move on to a roll call vote.
Maureen?
Aye.
Gabe?
Aye.
Shay?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Really shaking it up.
Well, right, yeah, all right, well, with that takes care of item 2 on our agenda, and welcome to the officer slate for 2026. So with that, we will move on to item number 3, which is citizens' comments. So this is an opportunity for citizens to address the commission with comments and or questions about planning and zoning commission related matters that are not related to a public hearing that we have on the agenda. So, Dawn, do we have anything called in? I don't see anybody out in the audience. No?
I don't have anything, no.
All right, well, perfect, nice and simple. So then we will move on to item number 4, which is our active agenda. So, first item A, is approval of the December 10, 2025 meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at those? Look good to me. So with that then, if there are no revisions, comments, I will take a motion to approve.
I will motion to approve the December 10th, 2025 meeting minutes.
All right, it's been moved, and I will actually second that motion. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approved. All right, so item B in our active agenda is a public hearing and subsequent deliberation and direction to staff regarding the reason statement for conditional use permit application CUP 25-6 by Charlene Rickard. Am I saying that right? Richard, I'm sorry, okay. Ability Interventions LLC. So real quick, just for those online and anybody who's watching this for posterity, I'll just talk about the public hearing process real quick. So we've announced the subject of the public hearing. If there's any commentary, we will, other than the applicants, we will limit that to 3 minutes. So staff will give a presentation as soon as I open up the public hearing. The applicant can address any questions that the commission has, any comments. We can hear testimony from the public if there was any written in, if anybody comes in. If there needs to be a rebuttal, the applicant has an opportunity to rebut any comments. And then we close the public hearing, and then we will deliberate and discuss the relevant criteria and standards and articulate our detailed reasons for our proposed decision. So with that, I will go ahead and open up the public hearing and take it away.
Good evening, Commission. Katie Hollinghead, Assistant Planner. John is getting my goodies going, super. Okay, so tonight we were talking about conditional use permits as a CUP 25-6. This is a request for a daycare center in an R2A zone. My share going.
I need to change the camera. Give me one moment.
Okay.
I want to see your beautiful face. You are.
There I am. Woo. Okay. So, like normal, we're gonna go through some maps and some photos and discuss this property. So, subject property is located at the corner of 4th Street and Linden Avenue at 3323 4th Street. This property is comprised of 3 city lots. It's approximately 0.79 acres in size. It contains an office building, a detached storage building, and 2 parking lots. This building was originally approved under a conditional use permit as a medical office building. And you will get to see the work of previous commissions because there are like 8 conditional use permits for this neighborhood to do various things. It was a good time looking all those bad boys up. So this one was done in, I believe 77, maybe. I can find where that part of it is. 75. So conditional use permit was originally granted in 1975. This allowed for the building of the office structure. It was meant to hold 2 medical physicians. It's been a variety of different medical uses through the years. It's currently Ability Interventions, which is a disability agency that assists clients. So looking at the property on our zoning map, it is located in our R2A low-density residential zone. It's surrounded by that same zone with the exception of this gray area, which is actually our airport zone. But all this other yellow is all R2A. So it's surrounded by mostly single family and some small multifamily residents, some duplexes. I think there's a 4-plex farther down. And so those exist on the northeast and south sides. Properties to the west, and this is where we see all of these previous conditional use permits, include Pacific Cataract, so that's right here. Brighton Canyon Professional Center, which is this whole complex that contains a variety of medical and dental providers. And then farther to the north is the Life Care Center. So all 3 of those commercial buildings were all approved via conditional use permits during various times from 1970 up to 2000. So like I said, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 conditional use permits issued in that time frame associated with the various buildings up here. So then looking at our future land use designation map from the comprehensive plan, the subject property is identified as neighborhood commercial, which is this red color. So you can see the whole situation of neighborhood commercial there. Neighborhood commercial areas are intended to provide low to mid-intensity commercial services, primarily for surrounding residents. And the comprehensive plan provides examples of childcare centers and small-scale professional offices as appropriate commercial services for this land use designation. And then some photos of the property itself. So like I said in the report, the property contains 2 parking lots with 22 parking stalls between them. So this is what I would call the front parking lot. So this one is immediately adjacent to the building. It contains 16 stalls. It has the ADA spot up here in the front. It has a ramp that goes into the building. Its entrance is from 4th. And you can see that they have a gate that they can close when they don't want people to be utilizing that parking lot. This is the secondary parking lot. So this parking lot is off of Linden. So this is on the east side of the building. It contains 6 stalls. You can see them striped here. Looks like they might also be used for recreational area for existing clients of the business. These 2 parking lots are not attached to each other, so you can't drive in from 4th and loop around the building and come out on Linden, okay? They're separate entrances. They do not connect in any way, shape, or form. So this is looking east on Linden Avenue. So like I said, so the eastern parking lot's over here, kind of right next to where the SLO Children at Play sign is. It can only be accessed from Linden. There is no through connection. Linden is identified in our transportation master plan as a local road. And then looking the other way, so now I'm looking south on 4th Street. So 4th Street is that main entrance into the site, and 4th Street is identified as a collector street. And as identified in the comprehensive plan, collector streets are an appropriate access point for neighborhood commercial services. Few more photos just of the neighborhood. So this is looking north on 4th Street. And so you can see the Bryden Canyon Professional Center up here. Life Care Center is farther down here. Property is over here on my left, or on my right, sorry. And then finally, just looking across the street, across 4th Street, and you can see Pacific Cataract there. There's also an empty lot here that does have an approach. We've had a variety of people interested in it, but nothing concrete has ever been proposed at that location. But commercial things going on over there. So as stated in the application, so Ability Interventions provide services for developmentally disabled persons and is proposing to add daycare services that would benefit children who may have special needs or developmental disabilities with specially trained staff. So they would be serving most of the same population, just expanding kind of the variety of things that they provide to a younger population. Daycare center would operate Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And as stated in the application, the applicant is working on the landscaping and would be required to meet the state of Idaho standards for daycares. I did contact public health because they and the state are ultimately responsible for daycares. And I was told that all childcare facilities through the state are now licensed by the state of Idaho. Locations are inspected yearly by public health for a health and safety inspection, and a fire inspection is conducted every 2 years as part of the licensing process. Public health also reported to me that 2 daycares within the city of Lewiston have closed in 2025. And with that, I would stand for questions.
Commissioners, do we have any questions?
I really don't have any for Edie.
I was gonna ask a general where it is, but then you mentioned 4th Street and it clicked.
Yeah.
It's near
4th
where I
Street, so
live,
like
so.
the intersection to Bryden is right here.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
Bryden Canyon coming
Yeah,
up.
so if you're going up Bryden, you can see the orthopedics or
The orthopedics and
yeah.
the.
Yeah, so you can see like
Laser.
Lewiston Ortho has
Yeah,
their
yes.
big sign right there, and then
Yeah.
tucked back here, they're this darker
Yeah,
orangey kind
okay.
of color,
Sign you can
in
see
a
from
planned unit
space.
development.
Yeah.
I think you can see Pacific Cataract as you're creeping
Yes,
up.
yeah, as you're going, yeah.
So other like markers, so farther north is Walker Field.
Yeah.
And the new Steve Carlton hangar addition,
Yeah.
residential development, so that's the general area. But as you can see, a majority of the surrounding neighborhood is residential, and then you have this commercial kind of
Yeah, yeah.
pocket
Yeah.
on the west side.
Near my stomping grounds. Perfect. Well, with that, would the applicant like to provide any information? You don't have to if you don't want to. I don't want to say you have to go up there.
Well, actually, I feel like it was pretty well presented. She did a good job of presenting. I think the biggest thing is.
You have to come up, you have to come up.
Come up.
If you just want to add information, you can just say your name and that
Yeah,
you,
name, city
your
of
city of
residence.
residence.
Okay.
way
Yeah,
you're on
sure.
the record.
Charlene, City of Residence is Lewiston, Idaho.
Sorry, can you give your last name too?
Ricard, Charlene Ricard.
And your relationship to the property owner.
I am the property owner.
Perfect.
So yeah, we have a developmental disability agency. We provide behavioral intervention, community-based support, and we'll be starting Early Start Denver model program, which serves children the 0 to 6 age range. We have come across several times where children with disabilities have a difficult time integrating into a typical daycare center. A lot of families have a hard time finding daycare for their developmental disabled children. So I just felt like I needed to fill that void for some of these families. So that's why I wanted to add daycare, preschool services to my agency to kind of fill some of those voids that families have, a hard time finding those services, so.
Do you have an idea of how many kids you would be thinking of?
Since we already have a large clientele, it's not gonna be huge. It's,
Okay.
it's gonna be, I'm requesting 13 and over just in case it does grow but I'm not gonna start off that big. Maybe 6 to 10 to start off with, so.
I think my only question for you is, with the two separate parking lots, I'm kind of guesstimating that you would be keeping that rear parking lot more for like staffing and stuff like that?
Yes, the rear would be more for staffing and
Okay.
things like that. The back area, there is a fenced area on the side, on Linden. And then the back area will also be fenced eventually. That big grass area in the back will also be fenced. And then there's that basketball hoop back there, if kids
But
want
it
to.
would keep most of the quote-unquote commercial in and out traffic coming off of Fourth, off
yes.
of that,
Mhm.
that Collector Street, that's good.
Yes.
Emily, Shay, do you have anything? Any questions? You don't have to, obviously.
You asked the question that I was wondering.
Perfect, yeah. And I know that as Katie said, the state handles the licensing and all that, so you'd comply with all those statutes and regulations and all that good stuff, so. Well, perfect. I think if there are no other questions, then we will let you off the hook.
Did Emily have something?
I have one question. How many employees do you currently have? And are you anticipating adding any more?
Yeah, so currently we have 23 employees. However, I also have a Moscow facility, so that's between the two facilities. This facility here, I would say we have maybe 12. We will be adding additional staff, but not, maybe like 5, 6. So not a huge amount, but.
And do you plan, I should have asked this before, do you plan on running the daycare, at least to start, do you plan on running the daycare all 5 days? Or have you kind of mapped that out yet, or?
I think it's just gonna depend on the needs of the clients, and the children. I'm guessing that most of it will be just during the day, because it's gonna be mostly 6 and under, looking for services. Most of the kids are in school during the day.
Right.
So it'll probably be just like during those daytime hours.
All right, well, any final questions? No? Perfect. All right, well, we'll let you off the hook.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
All right, commissioners, any remaining questions for staff? Or actually, I should say, Dawn, were there any comments from the public regarding this? No emails, phone calls? All right, well, commissioners, last question.
Hold on, I was looking at this and I wasn't sure, I didn't see the requirements or special conditions of section 3720.
They were included at the very end with the, so I did the form and then the special requirements at the end.
Oh, in the
Packet, yeah, so I had the, I can't remember what it's called now, the reason statement, the form, right, and then the last page, is, those 3 additional requirements that you guys will need to discuss. The size of the site is shown to
Oh,
be
yes,
reasonable with
okay,
intended
yes.
use. The surrounding property will not otherwise be adversely affected, and off-street parking and pickup and drop-off area shall be provided.
Okay.
So I don't know if the commission's received any testimony regarding pickup and drop-off drop-off area, so in making that decision, you may want to obtain information about
I
such.
thought that was what I was kind of talking about.
Yeah, I thought that
Well,
was.
Using the rear parking lot for staff and kind of closed off, and then the front parking lot being used for pickups and drop-offs. Isn't that what I said? Didn't I
Kinda,
have a
yeah,
last-
you did ask about that.
Well, because there's the off-street parking requirement and then a specific pickup drop-off area. I don't think any testimony was received about where those areas would be provided. And I don't know if the site plan included that specific area.
So you might ask the applicant which parking lot she intends to have that occur at.
Or if there's gonna be any designated location or signed location related to that for the purposes of completing your reason statement.
I mean, as shown in the photos, they have the main entrance that you would access from that Linden, or not from Linden, the 4th Street parking lot. The only access doors were kind of like back doors without windows or anything like that, that you would be able to access directly from the Linden parking lot.
Yeah.
So you might just want to confirm and clarify which of those the applicant intends to use for which purpose. Because then we can clearly reflect
discuss
back
that.
in the reason statement
Thank
I write
you.
for you.
Would you like me to ask the question?
Please do.
Ms. Charlene, would you clarify for us what your intentions are for pickup and drop-off of the attending children?
Yes, pickup and drop off will be the 4th Street parking lot. And then employee parking lot will be off of Lyndham Drive.
Okay. And will you have signs and stuff designating that this is the pickup and drop-off, or will that just be like included in their like enrollment agreement specifics?
I can put up signs if need be.
Sorry.
Did that come from somebody's phone? Oh, no.
I thought somebody had a dog locked in the back room
I
here.
thought it came from somebody's phone, like a
I was
text
like,
message.
Dawn, what are you doing?
It's the dog here.
Joys of technology.
Well, I find that satisfactory, but
I do too.
I'm not the legal eagle, so.
Yeah. Well, the only other question I have is, so in terms of like reasonable for intended use or the surrounding property not being adversely affected, the only question I have with it is, do you intend for drop off to be at specific times? I know you mentioned that it would be, considering the age group is 0 to 6, it would be at specific times during the day. So do you kind of anticipate that like early morning and then later in the afternoon over a, I don't know, an hour, 30-minute time period?
I would say most drop-offs would be at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Pickups would be, the latest to pick up would be 6 o'clock, but I would anticipate, usually our day is done by 5 or 5:30. 6 o'clock is the absolute latest.
Okay. Yeah. Reasonable. I don't have any concerns about that, so. Well, does that satisfy the team?
Mhm.
All right.
Satisfies
Perfect.
legal.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen. We'd be lost without you. Perfect. You're.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, commissioners. Well, with that, do we feel we have enough information?
I do.
All right, perfect. Well, then I will close the public hearing with no public testimony, and we will deliberate our relevant criteria and standards and the special conditions. All right, so our relevant criteria and standards are, number 1, the proposed use will or will not result in conditions that will tend to generate nuisances such as noise, dust, glare, vibrations, and odors, or if so, any anticipated nuisances will be appropriately mitigated.
I will jump in and say that I don't believe that it will not
Yeah.
create any additional noises, et cetera. Especially with the hours that she's talking about with operation. And that is already, like Katie pointed out, it is a collector street. There is already traffic and everything else going to the Pacific Laser and all of the other businesses within those business hours. And like she said, you know, the park is just up the street, so I don't see anything as being excessive or unmitigated.
Agreed. I don't have anything to add to that. Emily, Shay, do you have anything to add?
Would the commission like to note the absence of any testimony?
Yes.
Well,
Knows
yes,
that
and there is no negative commentary. So we haven't received any pushback, so to
Yes.
speak.
All right, well, then number one is will not. All right, number two, the proposed use is or is not a public necessity or is not justified by the applicant and deemed to be of benefit to the public. So I will jump in here and say it is a public necessity and is justified by the applicant and deemed to be a benefit to the public. So I think mental health services in our community, especially for those with developmental disabilities, is a public necessity and is a benefit to the public. And I think the fact that this has been in operation for years, it's not something that's new, speaks to that it provides a tangible benefit to the clients and the public.
I would agree with that. And as Katie mentioned in her testimony, we've had 2 daycares that have closed.
Yeah. Yes.
So we definitely have a need for more daycare facilities and specifically for children.
Well, and I don't know of any other daycare that specifically fills the need of children with developmental disabilities. And that is an area where I think a lot of parents, when they have a child with developmental disabilities or disabilities of any kind, they're very apprehensive. And so that provides, even if it's not full-time daycare, if it provides a parent who's a caregiver some relief, and having somebody who has experience with that population, I think is huge.
I'd agree. All right, so item 2 is public necessity and is justified by the applicant and deemed to be a benefit to the public. So, number 3, the character of the proposed use, if developed according to the plan as submitted, will or will not be in harmony in which it is to be located. I would just go ahead and say it will be in harmony with the area. A, because it's been there for a while. B, because of the hours of operation should not cause any issues. And those are my 2 reasons.
Well, and additionally, you look at the fact that the comprehensive plan is specifically calling out this area as being, the future land use is gonna be that neighborhood commercial. And that fits very well in with what we've designated as that neighborhood commercial. And honestly, I can see this as being a benefit, you know, especially for people who happen to be working in a lot of those buildings that are just in that immediate neighborhood area, because you've got the assisted living facility, the medical facilities. I think it would be hugely impactful for those people to possibly have access.
All right, well then number 4, the proposed use will or will not endanger the environment or the public health or safety. I think this one is a pretty clear will not. There's nothing there that is being done that would endanger the public, endanger the environment or public health or safety.
No.
The use is just an extension of an existing use.
It's expansion.
Yeah.
I don't have any testimony from the public
Yeah.
in regards to.
I was getting there. All right, well then number 5, the proposed use will or will not be in substantial conformance with the comprehensive plan. Well, I think you kind of.
As stated previously,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it
you
will
hit this
be,
one on
you
the
know,
head.
like I said, with that future land use being neighborhood commercial, I think this is when we were talking about expanding that neighborhood commercial and everything else, this is specifically the type of use that we were talking about, is
Yeah.
being able to provide that backup care add stuff to people who might be working in the area or, you know, nearby.
Exactly, yeah. Number 6, pursuant to Idaho Code 67-6512, the conditional use permit may be granted subject to the ability of political subdivisions, including school districts, to provide services for the proposed use. I don't recall in the staff report that the school district or anything had any commentary on that. I do recall, I forget which department it was. I'm looking at the staff report. I believe it was, yep, the only commentary was Public Works didn't have any issues. And then the fire department just said that all plans and permits need to be followed for occupancy of the adjacent storage. So there weren't any issues there to my reading of that section.
Didn't see anything either.
All right, and then number 7, the last one, the proposed rezone is or is not in conformance with Idaho Code 67-6537, use of surface and groundwater, and I would just say in this situation, it's not applicable.
Yeah.
It's not noted, but that's why I kind of put there, as a part of the CUP, there is the requirement to comply with the regulations of section 37-20.1. So as a number 8, if you'd be willing to discuss those, and it would be sub 5 for daycare center of 13 children or over. I would note that the information on page 4 of the staff packet and the information on the end are a little bit different, but that's because city code has since changed. And so a daycare is no longer required to necessarily get a city business license, because that's wholly regulated by the state
By
now.
the state, exactly.
So it would be just a determination and deliberation and discussion about whether or not the size of the site is shown to be reasonable for the intended use, the surrounding property will not otherwise be adversely affected, and then off-street parking and pickup drop-off area is provided.
The special conditions.
I think the size of the lot and the space and everything else is more than adequate for, especially where she's talking about not jumping in right out the gate. It's not like she's planning on opening tomorrow with 30 kids. As far as the, being cohesive in the area and not having any adverse effects, the building's already been a commercial building. I actually, and where they're already doing adult care with medical traffic. Honestly, I see this as being less traffic to a large degree, because instead of having 2 medical practitioners that are operating throughout the day with constant flow of traffic coming and going, this is going to be
It's
very
one
timed,
location.
and then as the applicant said, having that 4th Street, with it being a collector street, being able to have the pickup and drop off and everything coming through that parking lot. They're not gonna be having to monitor 2 separate parking lots simultaneously, just having that constructed. I think it meets all the requirements.
I agree. I don't have any issues with these. So with that, I think we satisfied our deliberation on the special conditions. So with that, I will take a motion to approve.
Sorry, one more thing. Do you intend to adopt any of the information contained within the staff report as a part of your, as far as you want it incorporated as a part of your reason statement?
So Mo commented on number 5, she called out specifically the section that I had included. And then Ditto Shay had also called out on number 2, the information I provided from the public health. So I've noted those 2 items to include. Are there any other items from the staff report, sections
Or as a whole, would you like to incorporate the findings of the staff report?
I would just
think it would be beneficial to incorporate the whole
Yeah,
staff
because
report.
otherwise I'm gonna pick this thing apart and be like, public health reports that 2 daycares have closed in the city. So so I would just say we adopt the staff report as presented.
Same with the applicant's application as well.
Yes. Yep, staff report and applicant's application. All right.
I just note that we typically pull from that anyways, and to the extent that you're not specifically referencing it, it's good to just
Well, and I
adopt
feel
it
like
as
we
a
already
whole
have
document.
pulled from it, we just haven't mentioned the reference, so, yeah, so we can adopt those both in whole.
So, Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to direct staff to draft the reason statement approving CUP 25-6.
I will second that motion, so it's been moved and seconded, all in favor of directing staff to draft the reason statement with our relevant discussion and deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Motion carries. All right, we will see that reason statement probably in a couple weeks. Perfect. All right, well, item C on our active agenda is initiation of zoning code amendment ZA-04-25 relating to wireless communication facilities.
Okay, so this is a request for a zoning code initiation. So the state of Idaho passed House Bill 180 this last year in 25, which made some changes to, well, added some sections to state code regarding wireless communication facilities and broadband infrastructure. So back in 2020, the city went through kind of a large laborious process of developing a wireless communications facilities code in response to some federal laws called the Spectrum Act. So this is us integrating the changes made by House Bill 180 into our existing code section. So this is section 37-15. So you'll see a lot of it is renaming from wireless communication facilities to just telecommunication facilities. We also removed a couple of the definitions that I would say we came up with, but we didn't come up with. A lawyer wrote the code for us. But changed it to match the definitions that the state is now using so that those things are interchangeable. So that you're not going, is that the same as what the state says? Do I have to worry about it being something different? We're just going to use those instead of using the, I think I removed like 3. Yeah, because we had, so we're adding broadband infrastructure, broadband provider. Those are the ones I'm putting in, and then we're removing things like operator and provider, and wireless infrastructure provider. The more kind of vague so that the terms that the state uses are the same terms that we will use. And then, what were the other 2 big ones? Oh, so we needed to make a change. So our code is actually more, I'll say restrictive, but it's not more restrictive on the provider or the applicant. It's more restrictive on staff and the amount of time that we have to complete a review or to tell somebody that their application packet is not complete. So our timelines are much shorter than what the federal guidelines and even the state guidelines are. So you'll only see a couple of spots where we had to adjust days because there was only one change that was actually a reduction from what we're already doing. And so that was one that changed it from 30 days to 21 days. And I think that that's for responding to them in writing if they have an incomplete submittal.
Oh, so 21 days, and then I see the 30 days to hold a public hearing.
Yes, and so that was the other change was the speed at which you would need to hold a public hearing. So in our code, you would only hold a public hearing if you were trying to put a new tower up. A majority, we don't get a ton of these kinds of permits coming through, but a majority of them are what's called an eligible facilities request, which is an existing tower and they're replacing or upgrading equipment. And then once in a while, we'll get what's called a co-location request, which is an existing tower that has like one carrier on it, and it's a secondary carrier wanting to also put their equipment on that same tower.
Oh, gotcha.
Those are the ones we see the most often. The code itself has all kinds because there are all kinds. And so to make sure that we covered the gamut when the code was written back in 2020, we covered all of them. So there's like roof mounted ones, there's like the 5G little ones that you would put on existing infrastructure that like the city owns. There's all these different ones that could potentially happen. We haven't seen those. In the 5 years we've been doing these kinds of permits. We mostly see those eligible facility requests and the co-location requests. But this covers all of them. So we adjusted the 30 days for a public hearing because you would have to do a public hearing for a new tower. And that's kind of called out specifically in code. Because they would need a CUP. And then otherwise, I think it's just me changing wireless communication facility or WCF to telecommunication facility like 600 times. There is a chance, my understanding is that there might be additional changes made to this section of state code coming up in this current legislative session. So you might see this come in front of you guys again, depending on what comes through at the end of session. We might, depending on what sorts of additional changes come through the state, we might look at reducing like the bulk of this section of code and not have it cover as many things, or maybe just lump them into a more simplified form. We haven't really fleshed that out yet because we didn't want to put a lot of work into a full code rewrite without knowing what else the state might send down our way. But so that is what is in front of you tonight, is making changes so that they match what the state has put in their own code.
Yes, I will take a motion to initiate the zoning code amendment. Please. You look like you want to.
Well, I'm just waiting for someone else to jump in tonight. Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to initiate the zoning code amendments to amend the Lewiston zoning code, chapter 37, regarding telecommunications, facilities, and broadband infrastructure as recommended.
Second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, all right, that motion has been carried. So with that, that takes us out of our active agenda and to item number 5, which is just staff commission communications.
So normal solicitation of commissioner attendance for our next regular scheduled meeting, which is January 28th. We do have a public hearing scheduled for a conditional use permit. And then also a workshop on the proposed residential upzone that you guys initiated last year.
Oh, from the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, from the comprehensive plan work plan group. We will probably be looking at moving this meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, to the library because our elevator is broken and we have an extended timeline for it to be fixed based on the elevator company. So to make sure that we are accessible to the public, we'll try to figure that out with the library. So we might have a change of location.
Okay, that's fine.
I think that's all I got. We do have a new commissioner, Kyle Harris. He was supposed to join us via Zoom. Looks like he was unable. He is a member of the legislature, so he is down in Boise. So he will be logging in via Zoom for the next several
for the first part of the year.
Until he's able to be back in town. I think that's all I know.
I will try to join with Zoom again. I will be coming back from Medford, so if my plane is delayed or if anything happens, then there's a chance I might not make it.
And short of me getting the Ebola,
Ebola.
the sickness, I plan on attending the January 28th meeting, so.
Ditto. I'll be here.
All right, well, with that, I will take a motion to adjourn. I will make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed, meeting adjourned. All right.
Aye, Capitan.
Right.
And she